called truth or objectivity in the media when they continue to lie. And I'm thinking that the news agencies and the big tech doesn't want this going out because they're interrupting my broadcast. So if you show the inconsistencies of this president, the lies of this administration, the abuses of this administration, we're going to shut your broadcast down. Oh, don't worry. Do not worry, because of the fact that this is being recorded and it will be uploaded. So for those of you who may have missed anything that was said, trust me, there will be another copy available to you and uploaded. But to have this discussion, to basically sit there and actually start having people have this discussion. Oh, is this part of the information czar slash what is it? Misinformation ministry? The Ministry of Misinformation, to make certain that this kind of language is not out there to ask people to consider common sense issues that are happening in our country right now. So let's block the information. Let's block all those different things that would make you believe that this is a credible threat. So you basically shut down the truth. You shut down the truth. Oh my goodness. Wow. Holy moly guacamole. This make no mistake. They know how bad it is. They know how bad this administration is. They know how bad this president is. And they're going to do everything they can to just basically say, questioning him, highlighting the inconsistencies, the clear, downright hypocrisies, and the indisputable corruption. You can't talk about those things because of the fact that we want to keep control. Thank you guys. Thank you, social media, so much, because you're only proving our point all the more. Hey, did you know that now Dilbert's racist? Yeah. Popular comic strip is now canned by 77 newspapers after artist Scott Adams began incorporating anti-woke plot lines, including black character who identifies as white. They did a comic on me. so yeah, because I'm a Caucasianly challenged person who identifies as white. So I'm assuming that Scott Adams has all this time has been doing a comic strip about me, and I'm not getting paid. I take offense to that, Mr. Adams, and we will have communication if you're doing a cartoon thing about me, and I didn't even know about it until now. Yes, Tim, it is definitely all my designs. Brandon says, a friend was banned on Twitter yesterday, Christian, who posted only things that triggered the worst. She is working on the other social media sites now. Yeah, and you know what? Honestly, to tell you the truth, we shouldn't be surprised when they try and censor us, because unfortunately, these bigger platforms are really diluting the masses, and we have to do our best to continue to communicate the truth. Trust in God. He's got this.
In John 14:6, Jesus said to him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No one comes to the Father except through me. Now, a lot of Christians are going to, or quote-unquote Christians, are going to tell you that there are many ways to heaven. Sorry. The only means of getting to heaven is through God's grace, or by God's grace. There's nothing we can do. There are no good works that we can accomplish. There are no great deeds that we can do, because the moment that we say that we can do something good to get ourselves into heaven, or just be good people, into getting into God's heaven, where Jesus is the requirement, God's grace is the requirement, you are destined for hell. I'm sorry, there's just no other way to say it. Please, stop following the lies from the people in the world who have nothing to gain except your eternal damnation and misery. Hear the truth. The only means to heaven is through Jesus Christ. No other way. Accept him, please, before it's too late. Thank you. Are you tired of living from paycheck to paycheck? Are there more days at the end of the week and the end of the month than there's money in your bank account? Have you heard of a budget? Have you ever even heard of Dave Ramsey? Well, before we get into there, why don't we consider the 3 steps for financial freedom and remove you from the frustrations that are driving you up the wall right now? Start with prayer. That's the first step. Have a conversation with God, and he can get you on the right track to make sure that you're doing things the right way. The second step would be looking into Total Money Makeover by Dave Ramsey. Great stories of people who were in the same position as you were and how I used to be in the past. And they can show you that it does work. His plan does work, but you have to change your mindset and how you look at money. And then the third step is looking into Financial Peace University. This is what you take after reading Total Money Makeover. Trust me, this plan works, and I assure you, you will be living a lot better than you ever could before when you get a budget. Look into it now. Triggering change, one heartbeat at a time. Battle for Freedom.
Hey everyone, I'm your host Watson Brady for Battle for Freedom on Mojo 5 Radio. As we get back to this idea of triggering change one heartbeat at a time and talking about the gospel of bondage and baselining fear. Because the idea of Gilbert being racist, because we got to worry about that. Brandon says the following. Let's see if I can find that. He says, "You're one of the whitest guys I know, trapped in the pigment of a black man." And you have to understand something. Yes, Tim, I'm going to try and be a trendsetter. You have to understand something. The idea of, it's not just me. It's not just me. You have the likes of, what is it? Is it David West, Candace Owens, Ben Carson. Did I say David Webb yet? I think I may have said David Webb. There's countless brilliant blacks who are intelligent. There's a guy who comes on Mojo 5, Daily Mojo with Brad Staggs from Freedom Works. Very intelligent guy. I'm intimidated by him. I'm like, yeah, what's with this Negro? Come on, I've been with you, Mojo. I've been with you. You got this Negro coming on, sounding all intelligent. They're like, no, Watson, the world has enough of you. So in 1 hour is enough. We don't need more. I'm hurt. But I'll get over it. But let's get back to this whole idea, though, is we run into so many situations where it will never change because they need to keep us in fear, and keeping us in fear makes us more controllable. I met her at CPAC actually for 4 years ago. So, pretty nice person. I didn't have any issues with her. She seemed pretty cool. Candace was pretty cool. But, as we sit here, we look at this idea of keeping people in fear. Gilbert being racist now, because we've got to worry about Gilbert. We got to worry about places that will expose the see, because if Dilbert is now considered racist, that Babylon B is next. And if Dilbert's done this, if they do this with Dilbert, if they do this with Babylon B, then they're going to do with JP Awakens and Steven Crowder. And what was it? Is it Russell Brand? I watch many of these guys on YouTube, and they're downright hilarious. They're brilliant. Oh my goodness! It's just oh yeah, how can I forget this guy? Oh my goodness. Lawrence. Oh my goodness. Met him also. He's with the Blaze. Lawrence, can't remember his last name, but I remembered that when me, Dylan Lyle from Defenders Live, we were down at CPAC in 2018. we were at this drinking establishment, and we met Lawrence. I can't remember his last name. It'll come to me later. We met him the first night. We were all joking. It was pretty cool. And then I think it was like the next night or another night later, I'm like, I know that he bumps into a lot of different people. There's a million people clawing all over him to just have a conversation with him. Like, you probably don't even remember me. He's like, no, last time I saw you, you had glasses on. I was like, yeah, I did. But another person who's pretty intelligent, who communicates. So they fear people like us. Who was this? Was it the lieutenant governor of New Jersey or whatever it was, or is it Virginia? You start showing intelligence. You start showing this. What was her name? Was her name Stacy out of D.C.? It's gonna come to me later. I apologize, but just understand. We don't want any white black people out there. Yeah, it's just hilarious. But hey, so because I want you to focus on the racism of Dilbert and not focus on this next story. I shared it with my wife yesterday, and she just looked at me like, "Are you serious? Are you for cereal?" As I shared this with her. So, decomposing human remains can... Oh, my goodness. I can't even believe I even have to entertain this. I can't believe I have to entertain this. Decomposing human remains can legally be used as compost from 2027, thanks to new California law aimed at tackling climate change. A California law makes it legal to turn human remains into compost. The process involves placing the body inside a reusable container along with wood chips and aerating it to allow the microbes and bacteria to do their thing. The law signed by Governor Newsom this week takes effect in 2027. He says, with the bill's author says, with the climate change, this is an alternative method of final disposition that won't contribute emissions into our atmosphere. So, okay. Okay. Now, by 2027, 5 years from now, for some strange, odd reason, I think they're under the impression that there's going to be a large amount of bodies available that'll be decomposing that you can actually use for compost. Is it me, or is there anyone else who really wants to ask the question, why do you think in 2027 there'll be enough bodies to use for compost? I mean, seriously. It's almost like they think that something is going to happen in 5 years that would allow us to actually make compost. A large number of bodies, not like the ones that are dropping like left and right, not these 21-year-olds and 60-year-olds and 39-year-olds and 40 years old. You know what I mean? No, because we're not doing those right now. It's not a humanitarian crisis of dead bodies everywhere, littered in every place. I got it. So now Curtis has been trying to do this for... Why is it not coming across my screen? Are you kidding me? Oh, come on, dude. You're getting robbed here. Curtis says, Soylent Green is people. I mean, seriously. Oh, my goodness, Lep. Oh, yeah, I gotta give him this one. He says, fertilize your lawn with your expired loved ones. And why, pray tell, would they be expired? Why, pray tell? So while we're sitting here focusing on Mar-a-Lago, while we're sitting here focusing on the racism of Dilbert and Donald Trump, as we're focusing on inequality and basically making our kids woke, making people woke, we're not worried. We're not asking questions as to why there's going to be a large enough body count in 2027 to use people as compost. created a law for all these bodies. People, are you asking the right correct questions? Or the right questions? I'm serious. I am for cereal. Yeah. Yeah, Tim says, he says, in other words, legally get rid of someone you wax off. Yeah, you whacked off with some special juice, with some Kool-Aid, some 2021 Kool-Aid. 2020, I gotta make certain that they're not gonna take this down as I really want to say. They would have said, yeah, as people been getting juiced up in the last couple of years. Yeah, I'm telling you, what folks, we need to do this, and we need to do this seriously. In all honesty, we need to be praying for our friends and our family. Friends and family members who were forced or coerced in the last couple of years. And pray for their health. Listen, I'm going to try and reach my dad again. There will be no show tomorrow, no live broadcast. I'm going to try and reach my dad again. But he is the unfortunate victim of coercion. That's all I have to say. He's a victim of coercion. And many more people are. Human reigns. They're going to be showing up. Here is one I don't want to miss, because I really want to cover this one here. I still have enough time. Beautiful. I can't show the, do I not have that? There was a video of Don Lemon getting schooled. So he is, Lemon squeezed. Don Lemon squeezed. CNN host is stunned into silence when royal commentator says African kings, not British royals, should pay reparations for slavery because they rounded up their own people and had them waiting in cages on the beaches. Thank you. Thank you. Now, a lot of people are going to be like, look at that racism. They don't even want to acknowledge their imperialistic mentalities. Sorry, you still have slavery in Africa right now. They're not rounding up on the beaches, but they're rounding them up. These Christian communities in Nigeria, these girls, was it Boko Haram who did that? But we don't have that discussion because we want to focus on the immediate, the right now, or not even the immediate, the right now. The past that we dredge up is right now, to replay in the minds of people to keep them angry and off center. Sorry. I'm just going to keep my mouth shut and not say anything because y'all don't want to hear that truth. You don't want to hear that truth. That they have kept the bonds of bondage, the chains of bondage on people for far too long. And actually having to have that discussion is not what you want to do right now. Yeah. Lord help us. Yep. That's exactly it, Lep. That's exactly it. Bury them where they land. And this is only going to get worse. Whew. Got to slow down there because of the fact that that it's easy to get triggered. Try not to be triggered. Mar-a-Lago at $730 million when it should be $75 million.
Apartments inflated by 65 times, and $127 million for a golf course losing money. The breakdown of properties, the New York Attorney General claims Trump inflated, and how he did it, as she claims she is a fraud, and he claims she is a fraud. I think that she is a fraud, and here's this. The claims are fraudulent because of the fact that it's not just the Trump properties that may be inflated or are inflated. It's every property that's on the real estate market right now. To sit here and just isolate the Trump properties as overinflated and not look at the housing market, as the housing market crashes and they lose value, if the Trump property is losing any value, if anything, the golf course is losing value or anything like that, it's because it's losing value with every other thing that we have in this country that's losing value because of inflation, high inflation, and a failing market and a failing economy. As businesses are struggling with supply chain issues and they cannot produce or deliver on time the way that they need to, are the numbers that have been inflated and injected into the market. We see that those numbers have been inflated themselves too. Biden has done nothing in this administration to justify the stock market ever reaching 37,000 points this year, back in March. Nothing has this administration done. Everything that has been done by this administration has been inflated. You want to talk about inflated? I mean, if there was any time for deflated footballs, that's just for a friend having fun here. For deflated footballs, it's this administration. I mean, there was more air in that Patriots game football than there is in this administration. Okay. You want to talk about Deflategate? You want to talk about Deflategate? This administration is Deflategate or Inflategate. If you really want to go there, that should be another broadcast. Inflategate. Yeah, I'll think about that. But yeah, let's highlight what's going on with the Trump administration and their Trump properties. They're fake. Their values. They're overinflated. Yeah. You know what? Yeah, there it goes. Jamie coming in here trying to speak nonsense. You speak intelligence, speak truth. She does that on the weekends with Lep on Ain't You a Peach. No one truly owns a house or a car. You will always pay taxes on it, and year in year. True. Oh my goodness. Brandon says, hey, imagine if the ball would have been inflated, the score would have been 75-17. I can neither confirm nor deny. But, as we sit here, again, Inflategate. Here it is. Everything. The president, 8.3% inflation, but we're successful. It's not peaking. It's not going to 9. It's not 11. The Fed continues to raise the rates, but hey, it's not. It could be worse. It's not 17%. Honestly, they were the true numbers of inflation that you want to talk about Deflategate, of deflating the numbers of inflation down to 8% when they literally should be somewhere near 17. They're not even using the same scale that they used during the failed leadership of Jimmy Carter. Because they're doing everything they can to try and never allow the news to accurately report that this administration has been truly the first administration to make Jimmy Carter's administration look great. His failed policies. Him personally as a man, great guy. His position as a president, his administration for America from 1976 to 1980 failed. And we'll only have 2 years of failure under Biden. I mean, record inflation we haven't seen in more than 40 years. The last time we had inflation this high, Ronald Reagan had to bring in Reaganomics. So we're going to see DeSantonomics? I don't know. Yeah. Oh, ooh. And then the one time that doesn't come up, I guess I'll give it a few seconds for it to come up and see if Tim's had it. He said, "You're a serf. Just difference in comfortability. Enjoy it." Yeah, that's exactly where we are right now. But you can't even enjoy that much because of the fact that the goal is to keep us in perpetual fear. The goal is to keep us in this gospel of bondage. Baselining fear. Oh, well, it's not working. They're not fear. Well, what we did is we got them comfortable now to the fear. Let's raise the roof. Let's move the goalposts. Let's make these changes. Have you recognized that we haven't talked about chickenpox? Not chickenpox. Monkeypox. You remember monkeypox? It was just barely a month ago. It was utter pandemonium about monkeypox. What happened to monkeypox? No, Biden declared a national emergency about monkeypox. And they're not talking about it anymore. Why? Why? Because Mar-a-Lago. Because Ukraine. Because China and Taiwan. All these different things that are used as distractions away from this failed. See, and here's another thing too. Okay, let's Dilbert racist, America racist, Donald Trump racist. Now, there's this guy named Charlemagne, he calls himself Big G. But he had a guy on his show years ago. No, it was a couple years ago. It was last year, actually. Another Caucasianly challenged individual. I think he turned around and he said, get this. Under this administration, with Democrat control, okay, now get this. Democrat-controlled House, Democrat-controlled Senate, Democrat-controlled White House, okay? And you've got legislation for, anti-LGBT legislation to protect the LGBT community. You have anti-Asian legislation that protects Asians. But you have nothing that protects the black community. And I think the speaker has, the person has a right statement here. Literally, I was talking to Scott about this yesterday. There is zero anti-lynching laws. And lynching was going back 150, 160 years. And you're telling me that now with Democrat, this is 2009 all over again. This is the first couple of years of the Obama administration again, where he had the control before the Tea Party came in 2010 and wrecked things. Here it is again when Obama focused solely on Obamacare, Biden solely focusing on climate care and student loan care, where you had the majority, you had the power, you have the ability to make the change and put in legislation to protect blacks. And look at this, the party in power won't do it. Hence the reason why the border is a sieve, because they realize that blacks are finally getting angry enough. You're getting enough black voices that are saying to what Malcolm X had said. The worst person you need to worry about is a progressive white liberal who represents the party in power right now. Because they will sit there and act like they're your friends. Again, I am not a fan of Malcolm X. I'm not a fan of Malcolm X. I'm not a fan of this person who was talking about the whole idea of not enough black legislation. Or even Charlemagne. I'm not a fan of these individuals. But they're turning around and they're saying the things that but they have a voice
that the black community is listening to. They're paying attention to them. And they're putting on people who are starting to really ask the right questions of the black community. Why do you have an allegiance to the Democrat Party? They have literally done nothing. They have failed you for more than 50 years. Well, I would even dare say more than 70 years. I'll even go farther. More than 90 years. Because what was it, almost a little bit over 100 years ago that you had the NAACP put together? You had the NAACP put together. What was it? W.E.B. Du Bois? Was that who they used for the NAACP? A manageable black man. They didn't use, who was the other gentleman who was more intelligent and he wasn't manipulated. He was a free man, free of his thoughts. Didn't use him, but you go with the guy who could be manipulated. Put him as the face of the NAACP. They've been around, folks. The NAACP started by whites, not by blacks. That have been around over 100 years, and how have conditions improved? We've got black caucuses in the Democrat Party. They're black caucuses, and still nothing. We don't have to talk about that, right? Yeah. Lep says, 100 years ago, if they would have hung a horse thief, and you see the same thing that's the right fear. If you want to instill fear, is that we execute the law and stop messing around and letting these criminals continue to do wrong. There's no fear of them breaking the law because we won't enforce the law of what to the violations of what they've done. I understand giving that first time offender a first chance, but a repeat offender who has a rap sheet far too long, no sign of remorse, no sign of regeneration. But you be a conservative. Oh, we got to put you under the jail. We got to lock you up for 500-600 days plus with zero charges because of one day, because of January 6th. And now the Democrats have done something to try and new legislation out there to prevent voter laws and election law changes. Because we want to prevent it. The VP no longer has power to make these changes. This is what the House is voting on. Because January 6th is the biggest thing that we need to worry about. The show that they've been putting on for so long is the biggest thing that we have to worry about. This is a state of the gospel of bondage. And any of you who continue to believe that January 6th was a bigger threat to America than the summer of love and what we saw through Black Lives Matter and Antifa, that had taken cities, that had killed people, that has burned and destroyed property, you think that January 6th is the biggest threat? I dare say you are now suffering as a victim of Stockholm Syndrome far too long. You've been accustomed to being abused and misused and manipulated by the system that you can't even see how much they have raped away any common sense in your mind. Federal Chairman Jerome Powell says that it will be very challenging to tame inflation without steep job losses. See, because you can't focus on that. This is the big one that you can't ignore. The Dow dropped 500 yesterday. Get ready to look at 29K on the market again. You want to talk about Inflategate? Look at how they're going to inflate this market and inflate this administration, while the rest of us
can't afford gas, can't afford food, can't afford electricity, can't afford anything. And you, 81 million people who allegedly voted for this, are to blame. Period. Brad Staggs and the Daily Mojo's up next. I'm out, and remember, there's no live broadcast tomorrow.